Hi guys, my name is Josie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new here. Today I'll be talking about how insecurities negatively affect relationships. Now I'll be talking about this specifically concerning teenagers while also making creamy pasta. So let's get into it. Everybody has had something that they wish they could change at least once. Sometimes it's just a fleeting thought at the back of their mind, but other times it is deeply rooted in their thinking. So as a result, it affects how they view themselves, but it's not only internal a lot of the times, but it also tends to spill out into their interactions with other people. So today I'll be going over some of the ways that insecurities can show in day-to-day interactions and relationships, specifically from experience. Number one is that everything becomes more personal than it actually is. I remember being friends with this one guy, but I kind of liked him, making things a bit more complicated because if he didn't text as he usually did or didn't talk as enthusiastically or with a specific tone to make him sound like he cared, I would just assume that they had gotten bored of me and found someone more interesting. And so because I thought of myself as someone boring, I just assumed that he probably saw me as boring. And many times this was not the case. It didn't have anything to do with that person, but it kind of just reinforced the negative thoughts I already had about myself, and I just didn't appreciate myself enough to understand why anybody else would be interested in me. So everything was just a sign. Like my mind would just make up signs just to kind of reinforce that belief. Number two way is in constantly needing reassurance but not trusting it anyways. There are some times where I have asked my friends, so say that I didn't have a mirror and I was worried if my hairstyle was still in play, so I just wanted to know if my outfit was okay. So I would ask them like how I looked, if I still look good, and every time they'd be like, yeah, of course you do look good, but something in the back of my mind would just tell me that they were lying, that they were just saying that to be polite or because they were my friends. And at some point it begins to come off as attention seeking, and I know that it can get tiring to the other person as well, which is again where another relationship problem comes in, because nobody wants to be seen as that person who is just looking for attention, who's always just compliment fishing. But that is just the byproduct of someone who has not yet learned to appreciate themselves. Now, number three way is that relationships begin to feel transactional on your part. This is also part of a deeper conversation, but personally, it's been hard for me to believe that people love me like unconditionally, no strings attached. That's always been something that's kind of been hard for me to grasp. And so even if it's with my parents, I believe that, okay, because I've done this and this, then that's why they love me. And so that's why if I'm not accomplishing certain things, I begin to think that that love decreases. And I believe there's also other reasons to this kind of mindset, but the main thing is that if you can't appreciate yourself aside from your accomplishments or achievements, and there's always this need you have to perform or give as much as you can to feel valuable in the relationship, to feel needed in the relationship. I'm definitely still on a journey of learning to appreciate myself, but one thing I'm sure of is that getting into a romantic relationship, especially as a teenager, is just not a good idea because everyone has different levels of confidence, but I believe as teenagers, many of us do not have a steady sense of self-worth yet. And so I feel like getting into a relationship just makes you overly dependent on that person for that sense of validation or compensation. And that's why I see when people like go through breakups like as teenagers and they're like, oh yeah, I broke up with my boyfriend, and I feel that person is absolutely shattered. It's probably because they saw that person as like making up for something that they felt that they lacked. I feel first of all, we have to know who we are to a good extent and to be able to love ourselves fully before we can accept anyone else's quote-unquote love. But one way that I use to help with this confidence and appreciating myself journey is to not be so hard on myself. Many people, including myself, are very self-aware, but only when it comes to their weaknesses. Like if you ask some people, there's 10 things that you want to improve on yourself, like that list would be more than 10. But if you tell people list 5 things, even 3 things that you really love about yourself, some people are not going to be able to just list one. And sometimes I feel we have to give ourselves a pat on the back and appreciate yourself for the good things about you that many people see, but you just need to realize it for yourself. Now, a healthy relationship happens when two people can also stand on their own emotionally while not constantly depending on each other to patch up each other's insecurities. And so as we discover ourselves and base our identities on the solid foundation of God's word and the great things that God thinks about us as people and the great things that other people think about you as well, that is very true. I pray that we all reach that point where we can stand on our own emotionally without depending on someone for our sense of self-worth, and we will be able to give out love, and also not just give out love but receive love as well, and believe the good things that reside within us. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're able to gain also something from this video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.